What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I'm the Godless engineer, and I critically analyze apologist claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Today's video is a clip from The Line. If you want to catch me on The Line, I'm on there once a month to host Skept Talk. The Line also has a number of other shows that you might be interested in. So after you watch this clip today, why don't you go on over there, subscribe, and be sure to catch the next show. Yeah, I don't know if we can get the brain cells back, but we are going to be talking to Mike from Florida. Hey there, Mike. How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Doing all right.
Good. Yeah, I'm not too bad either.
Cool. So what's on your mind?
Yeah, I guess I'm calling. Sorry. Yeah, I think we have a delay. I'm calling about human rights. Like how do we deal with human rights from a humanist perspective?
I'm not understanding like the question. Could you be a little bit more specific, like as far as human rights go?
Yeah, like do you guys believe that humans have innately some particular rights, like in general, like all humans do? And I guess I'm asking outside of legal rights, so not necessarily legal rights, just kind of innate moral rights that humans have.
What do you mean by moral rights?
Something, like the life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, stuff like that.
I don't think. Well, now, so I don't know where Kevin stands on this, but I don't think that we have innate rights. Like, I don't think anything has anything innate about it. I feel like, I can subjectively tell you what I think, what rights should be afforded to, everybody living in a society or everybody in the world. Like, I could tell you what rights I think should be afforded, but that doesn't mean that I think that they are innate to anybody that's just living. I think that humans are the ones that give rights to other humans in a society. I don't know. What do you think there, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I mean, that's why we have laws. That's why humans have evolved to, we have empathy, and yeah, we innately, I don't know. I don't think we innately have rights. It's a tough way to phrase that, I guess. We're all just born into the same world. We're born into societies.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I guess try to pinpoint it down. But the question is, do you guys think that? Well, I didn't catch the first speaker. I don't know your name. I'm sorry. But I think you said that they're man-given. And I think Kevin agreed. So if that's all there is just man-given rights, then that would be like through fiat, through decree, through statutory law, right? And so then people have different rights. So humans have different rights depending on where you happen to be geographically. Is that what we're saying?
I mean, I feel like that's representative of reality. I mean, like I don't have the same rights in North Korea as I do in the United States. I know at one point in time, I had to go to the UAE for a job, and that was right after Saudi Arabia criminalized being an atheist. And so that had me really worried because like if I were to go over there and be in Saudi Arabia, I could be locked up in jail because I don't believe in Allah, So, I mean, I feel like what you said is representative of the reality that we have. Yeah, every society determines what rights they afford to the people in their society, and I believe that we're seeing now where rights are being rolled back. I mean, I feel like if the religious right in America goes unchecked for the next, say, 5 years, I mean, we could see segregation come back. I mean, they're already making these arguments about how, bakers and people that don't even have an issue yet, they just want to be prepared to turn down a gay couple. are making these arguments, in the legal sphere about how they should have the right to deprive people of just public services. So, I mean, it seems to me like, yes, rights are given and taken away by humans.
Okay. Is it only states, like only governments that give rights to humans, or can?
I mean, I think whatever kind of societal situation that you're in, I believe that it's the society or whoever the ruling body is. Like, I mean, it's just how societies work. I mean, in large societies, you have governments. In like small hunter-gatherer groups, you've got whoever's got the biggest dick making the rules. So, I mean,
right. Okay, so yeah, so I would agree that essentially as far as legal rights go, these are all things by fiat. It's just might makes right, and that's the reality.
It's not might makes right necessarily. That's kind of a weird way to put it, because it's not might makes right. It's just whatever society you're in, whatever societal structure you're in, however that society's structured to not police, but to control its population or to enforce certain things on the population. However that's done, it's not necessarily might. If you look here in the United States, you've got this human turtle over there in Congress that has a lot of power and a lot of pull. He's definitely not mighty in that kind of sense, like might makes right, but he is powerful in the sense that people definitely want to make sure he's happy. Whether that's putting a coat of turtle wax on him, or if it's like, doing whatever else to make him happy, that they want to make him happy because he definitely has the power, the social and the political power. I mean, it's not necessarily might makes right in the way that you're suggesting, because it sounds like a misunderstanding of like the survival of the fittest and everything like that. It kind of seems like the road you're headed down.
Well, I mean, can you name a system of government that isn't relying upon the violence of the state?
The violence of the state? I mean, I don't understand. Like, can we try to recenter back to the actual question of, like, human rights? Because I feel like we're kind of diving into like complex government and societal structure kind of stuff that probably doesn't have any bearing on your actual question.
No, I mean, I think it does. I may not be communicating it very well, so thanks for bearing with me. But I think,
okay,
if we're only saying that rights only exist as a legal construct, and that's why I asked about moral rights. I think Kevin asked, well, what's a moral right? And so maybe I can clarify by touching that.
Okay.
Okay, so for like a moral right would be something that we can recognize not necessarily exist, right? We can't touch it, just like we can't touch a legal right. You can't point to it and examine it. You could say it's a concept that's written out in a corpus of laws or a constitution or something. And then we act as if those things are real because there's supposed consequences. That would be like the legal right. We do the same thing with moral rights to say, we should treat people with respect and treat people the way you want to be treated, and certain, I guess, moral teachings, both from the past and the present. Right? You don't have to invoke religion or anything, but anything that we can objectively say is moral and would bring about less suffering.
By objective, do you really mean absolutely? Because I find that with a lot of theists that they mean, because objective just means that you can step outside of your own position and then make some kind of determination about something. That's all objective means. So, right. I mean, okay, you're agreeing with me.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing with the moral right is that, that I don't think we have to look to a government, especially when all government is predicated on the use of force, and the history of government is essentially the divine right to rule, right? It's just, and I would argue that government is a religion in and of itself, especially in the States. You have all the hallmarks of religion with.
While you have like replacing the state as replacing the religion with the state is a thing, but that's not indicative of all government bodies and governments in general. So that's just false to say right there. And I feel like for you to try to put government on the same pedestal as religion in that way, it just seems like you're trying to shift goalposts, or you're trying to shift something in order to make whatever argument you have for religion or God work. But I'm wondering if you can actually just point blank ask what your question is concerning like morality and I guess not believing in God, because I feel like that's the direction it's headed. All of this foreplay right here just isn't doing it for me. Could we just actually drill down to what the actual like issue is between moral? Because I feel like it has something to do with morality and not believing in God.
Yeah. I'm not trying to smuggle in God or support religion. I'm pointing out that a belief of government is a religion, and especially in the United States. I'm specifically talking about the United States form of government, that it has all the hallmarks of religion. Like there's
no.
What do you call them? Rituals.
Is that your argument? Sorry to interrupt. Right? Is that what you're trying to argue here? Is that the United States government is a religion? Is that the point of the call?
No, the government isn't religion, but those who like adhere to it and follow it and participate in a system of a religion, a system of worship. Like the higher power is the power of government, right? That they are worshiping rather than
a system doesn't make a religion.
It has rituals, right? You have people that wear funky clothes, and they do different rituals for swearing people in and for transitioning power.
Funky
and for
clothes? Like they're just business suits. Like it's not funky. Like that's just normal fucking clothing. Like it's not funky
what do
suits. Well, you're talking about. So wait, hold on. Oh, okay. So you're talking about like judges wearing that kind of stuff, but I mean that's only part of our government, and I mean I don't know why they wear that kind of shit, but I don't really think that makes them a religion.
But it's right. It's a part of it, right? There's the rituals for swearing in people, like the highest offices in the land, right? They have a justice come in and wear their robe. They're wearing this.
Hold on,
robes,
Kevin.
Right?
Hold on. Kevin, I have a question to ask my co-host here, Kevin, or guest host. When you became a Christian or a part of any other denomination, did you get sworn into the denomination?
No.
Okay. So you didn't have to like put your hand on a Bible and swear to be Christian for all time?
I did not.
Okay, I didn't either. So I don't know what your comparison is supposed to be here, like with the oaths and all this other stuff. Like it.
Yeah. So let me clarify that there's the priestly class, right? Just like in any religion. So I'm not saying that parishioners have to swear in, but in order to be a priest in most religions, there is the ceremony that they do, where they have other priests come in and lay on hands, or they have a Bible or a holy book that they do that's part of the ceremony. And the same thing is true in government when you swear in government, or even if you're just swearing in like an oath of office. Like swearing an oath is part of a religious practice.
Okay, hold on, Kevin. What are your thoughts?
How about like if you have a job and you go there from 9 to 5 and you go and you punch a time clock? These are all rituals, and you have higher ups. Does that make a workplace a religion too? I don't know. I don't understand the correlation.
No, that would be a routine. Like there's a difference between routine and ritual. Like ritual has, you have ceremony, you have iconography, you have special relics like the Bible and the robes of the priest, and you have special words that you do to invoke the special magical powers of the religion, like the oath that people
the
swear.
Special magical powers of the religion. What part of the U.S. government do you think is fucking magical?
None of it, but it operates under the same fairy dust magic that religion does.
You just said that you speak these incantations to evoke the magical powers of the religion. I get that when we're talking about actual religion because it's magic, but like when we're talking about government, I'm not seeing the connection here between the magic. It's not like the judge is up there on his little desk, and then he's got his gavel, and then he says "Wingardium Leviosa," and then all of a sudden the person is transported back into jail or something like that. Like, I mean, okay. You ever heard of parallelomania?
Yeah.
You've heard what? Can you describe what parallelomania is?
No.
Then why did you say yes? Anyways,
I don't know what it means. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, basically it's when you see these parallels in these different things, like you finesse one particular thing to highlight parallels in another thing, but they're not actually parallel. Like they're not. You can't compare these two. Like you can't compare the government with religion, because the government operates differently than a religion does. For one thing, religions, they don't change so easily. They're very dogmatic, and normally it takes like a huge like upheaval in the religion in order to change anything about the dogmatic thing. But with government, our government specifically, it's easily changed just with people agreeing to change it.
Yeah.
So you guys support democracy?
I mean, so currently the United States is a democratic republic. So it's a mixture between a couple of different, like, pure ideas there. But I mean, I don't know what you mean by you support democracy. Like, I don't like that. Seems like a weird question to ask somebody.
That's what it sounded like. Kevin was saying it's democracy, like that was a positive thing. I think it sounds like you guys are advocates of the government, and I'm pointing out that there are many parallels to how the U.S. government.
No, hold on. There's a difference between being an advocate for the government and telling you, hey, your comparison's kind of shit because you can't make a comparison between the government and religion in the way that you are trying to make it. There's a difference here. It's not like I'm offending the U.S. government. I'm just saying that you're wrong.
Okay, but how so? Like they still use Latin in the courts. You're talking about they don't use hocus pocus magic language, but they do. That's the courts run off of Latin phrases and terms.
When they speak Latin, do they expect any kind of fucking magical thing to happen?
Yes.
No. What fucking magical thing do you think is going to happen?
Dementors.
They use their Latin phrases to invoke the power that they wield against people.
And see, can you not tell? Like, are you a serious person?
Yeah, I'm not trolling you. I'm being serious.
No, because this is not like nobody expects magic to happen in the courtroom. Like if they say any, and typically whenever they're using Latin, they're describing certain concepts in the legal system that started with describing it in Latin or whatever in the fuck. It doesn't really matter because they're not expecting, for them to say, I'm trying to think about a Latin phrase in the legal system right now. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Habeas corpus.
E pluribus anus.
E pluribus anus. There we go. I mean, it's not like they say those things or that they have those phrases and it somehow magically produces something. There's no magic concerns in it. So I don't understand. Like, I just don't think that you're being serious right now. Like, I'm not convinced.
I am. But just like I would say that the Christian, because I come from that Christian background as well and deconverted out of that. Like, I don't think they really believe some magical thing is happening, right? They don't, there is no connectors, right? They just invoke some sometimes quote scripture, right? Quote Bible stuff, or will say some magic hocus pocus prayer that is passed down through doctrine or dogma, and will expect a result without actually having to do the linkage between the utterance of the phrase and the manifestation of the thing. Just like in the courts, though.
So hold on. Before you move on, hold on. Before you move on, before you move on, from my and I'm going to let Kevin answer this here in a second. From my personal experience, I definitely expected magical shit. Like when I prayed to God and I was like, God, I will do this if you help me do this. Well, right? Like I expected some magical shit to happen. We've heard it in the political sphere, ironically, about magical shit happening. What's that one? Who's that one guy? Ben Carson. He thinks God delivered him special knowledge in order for him to pass his doctor his test to become a medical doctor, or whatever test he took. It was magical. Now hold on before you continue. Kevin, did when you were a Christian, did you believe in like the magical like effects of God?
Absolutely. And yeah. I mean, I expected. I was having conversation with God. The Holy Spirit was flowing through me. I expected God to be able to make things happen based on me asking, just simply asking for things to happen, So yes.
Sure. Not to mention most of the people in almost all of the Abrahamic religions believe that God constantly is healing non-visible illnesses that are already capable of spontaneous remission. But Mike, I have a quick question. Did you used to call the show under the name Steve?
No, I just called the first time last night. I talked to Jimmy and Matt.
This is Jimmy. I guess I forgot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What did we talk about? No, just quickly. I'm not trying to be mean.
No, we're good. We talked about God as a concept of like the highest good. And
oh yeah, I remember. Hey, why were you fine giving pronouns yesterday but not today?
I didn't yesterday. I had the same response yesterday and today.
I don't remember us having somebody with no response yesterday.
Yeah, Dragon said, what did he say? He said, I'll put down whatever you want. He's like, you sound like a guy, so I'll put down he, him. Is that okay? I said, yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm not offended either way. You can put whatever you want.
And that's what you think the function is of asking pronouns, is offending or not offending someone?
Well, he said that's the purpose was something to that effect. When I asked him.
Well, no, the purpose is because first of all, Mike, I actually have two female friends named Mike who have she, her pronouns. And the fact that over the phone, you just can't know. Even if we say usually, like we have two gentlemen on the show that most people are going to guess he, him with both of them and guess correctly because they male present and then their names are John and Kevin, which are often associated. So the function of it is literally just for live chat. And yes, we're being respectful also because other people who call in, they're not always going to have the traditional stuff, but for live chat, comments and everything, the live chat looks so ridiculous, like a bunch of robots talking to each other because they just keep having to call you caller or Mike instead of like, that's how robots would talk to each other instead of using pronouns. So in the future, anyway, if you're fine offering them up, just telling people what you should be referred to when they're talking about you. Other people I would have roasted much harder. I'm giving you full good faith. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt that you're acting in good faith. In the future, if you don't mind sharing it, it's a utility for the chat. It's not something to make you feel fuzzy or offended.
Yeah,
cool.
It's all good. I talked to, I forget who I was on the phone with today, but I'm not even partial to my name. So like Mike, Michael, Bob, like as long as I know you're talking to me, I'll respond to it. It doesn't really. I don't really. Yeah,
I get that. Yeah, pronouns aren't about who's talking to you, right? We don't really use our pronouns when talking back and forth. But anyway, I've taken away from the call long enough. You just sound suspiciously like a person who used to call into the show called Steve. But right. I'll believe you when you say you're not Steve.
Yeah, you can call me Steve.
All right. So
the first time calling in was last night.
All right, listen, Robert. So now the entire point of the call is just to say that the government is a religion. And
no,
if that's it, I feel like we've kind of dealt with that.
Yeah, no, we kind of got sidetracked. I don't think we did deal with it. I don't know if you've actually dealt with that before, and it seems like maybe you could look into it more and we can talk about it again. But I think the point was,
I really don't need to look into that more.
I'll take wait. I'll take it next time I'm on. Call me, Mike, and I will take it with you. I would have gone a totally different. They didn't go a bad direction. I would have gone a completely different direction with you. And
yeah,
I see. Yeah, definitely call me. Call me with this topic. Okay. I'm not. You can hear the shit-eating grin in my face. I'm gonna. Yeah. All right. Just do it. Just do it. Yeah. Call when I'm on next time.
All right.
Yeah. No.
All right. So Rufus, what is
about rights? Yeah.
So what did you actually want to talk about instead of the government religion? Because we've been going for about 25 minutes. We still have one more call and super chats to do. So we kind of need to progress this a little bit forward. So if you could definitely tell me there, Steve, what you want to, what's the point with the moral rights and everything like that?
Sure. So I guess I'll put my stake in the ground and then you guys can react to that instead of me asking you questions. I think we're in agreement that you put your stake in the ground as far as rights exist by fiat, by other people attributing them. And I think we're in agreement with that. And I would categorize those as legal rights if they're cataloged that way, like in a legal framework. But I think moral rights are another aspect of I would say all humans would have moral rights, and not by fiat of any kind of God or deity, but just on, I guess, utilitarian viewpoint of we can find that it's objectively better to treat everybody as if we had these intrinsic moral rights. So, for instance,
who gets to dictate?
And we're going to borrow some. What's that?
Who gets to dictate what is a moral right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a dictate. It would be kind of like, I think Matt talks about.
No, you'd have to dictate it
yourself. No, that would be a
you
legal
understand
right.
That it's inherently it's inherently subjective though, because everybody's going to have a different set of moral rights.
Yeah.
Well, so right, you would apply a utilitarian approach to it. So yeah, there's going to be a subjective approach, and how you experience
dictating
things. Like what is
that's dictating. You understand that's dictating though. Like you're already dictating, adhere to a utilitarian idea. Like that's, I mean, no, there's no way you can escape it there, Frank, that you would be dictating in some kind of fashion.
Well, that's the point. The differentiation between a civil right or a legal right versus a human right, and the dictate would be through some kind of society dictator or somebody writing it down in a wall and saying you must do this X, Y, and Z, or we recognize these rights for humans in this geographical location, and that geographical location recognizes these rights. We're saying beyond that, regardless of what government says, we can treat each other.
Samuel, listen, you're trying really hard to get around the fact that that there's a subjective nature to these moral rights that you're talking about. Everybody, just listen. Everybody is going to have a different set of moral rights that they think people should have. So unless you dictate in some kind of fashion what those moral rights should be, then you're going to have everybody thinking that a different thing about what these moral rights are. You seem to have this idealized version of moral rights where everybody recognizes the same base idea of moral rights, and that's just simply not how anything has ever worked.
Nope. So everybody has an experience of suffering, and everybody's witnessed suffering. So that's the moral landscape that we can operate under. That yes, there's a subjective component. I'm trying to get away from that. I acknowledge that, but there is an objective analysis of having your arm fucking chopped off versus stubbing your toe. Like one's going to cause more suffering than the other, and you can do an objective analysis to that subjective experience. Of course, there's going to be subjective experience because we're talking about suffering and people's capacity to suffer.
I don't understand what the whole suffering thing has to do with it. But we have been talking for about 30 minutes here. If you wanted to maybe make a last point or summarize or something like that, we do have one more call and super chats to get through. So we do need to wrap up.
All right. Yeah, thanks. So I think we can operate as if there are such things as moral rights. And with that, essentially, you're working with a metaphorical truth, right? Something like the gun is always loaded. Well, we know factually the gun isn't always loaded, but if we treat it as if the gun is always loaded, then it's going to be objectively a better outcome for everybody. And we can do that similar idea with human rights. Like, it's objectively better for me not to take other people's shit. It's objectively better for me not to cause harm to another person or their property, right? And because I
seriously hold on,
if that happens to me.
And hold on, and you seriously think that unanimously everybody will agree with you about that?
No, you don't have to have consensus, and that's the thing. Like, it's just how do I talk to the world with a moral framework and treat people with dignity and human rights?
Peter, listen, you thinking that not everybody has to agree with it is contradictory to the entire idea that you're proposing here, because the entire idea that you're proposing here is that everybody agrees on these supposed objective moral rights that we can be objective about, but that's not how humans have ever worked. So you're being internally contradictory with your argument here, and I just don't see any way around it. We do appreciate you calling in, and I hope that you can call in and give Jimmy a lot of shit. But we do need to move on.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Samington. I was trying to make a point with the whole name thing, because I think it's dumb as fuck for you to be like, call me whatever you fucking want to. Oh, okay. Well, I will change every 5 minutes when I call you. Anyways,
my confidence at the beginning of the call is, hi, I'm a person who thought there was some point to be made in not sharing just simply what my pronouns are, and I'd like to discuss human rights. Was like, okay, yeah, this person seems like they don't have a side of this that isn't tremendously imbalanced, but whatever. Good. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I'm ready. If he calls me, I'll take it.
What's up, Heathen? Thank you so much for checking out this clip from The Line. If you enjoyed this clip today, you can get more of it by subscribing to The Line. So hit up those links in the description so you can catch me the next time I host Skep Talk. I don't know, was that 20 seconds? Here's some filler shit for, to fill out the 20 seconds. I don't know. Go fuck yourself, Jimmy.